Okay, these are some of the paper dolls that I made a few months ago. I just went on a little paper doll binge and made up a whole bunch of them and stuck them in this journal. This is a little smash journal thing. Which, okay, by the way, I'm irritated at myself, and I don't know if I need to just get over it or fix it, because I had to dig through 3 different journals to find this. I remember doing this. I could see the whole layout in my head, but I couldn't remember which journal I did it in. And I usually have 2 or 3 going at the same time because, you know, I like variety. And I'm just not good with having one dedicated art journal and one, you know, dedicated smash book or collage journal, whatever. Because I tend to just use whichever one falls into my hand first. So, but the downside to that, it's good because you have variety, but the downside to that is that I can't remember what I put in which journal. So I have to end up digging for it. So I'm just thinking maybe I just need to have one all-encompassing collective journal, and that's my journal for everything. It's my day book. It's my glue book. It's my art journal. Of course, it would have to be, you know, a good quality paper, you know, a good journal to hold up to all of the wet backgrounds and stuff that I do. But I would so miss my junk journals because I really like that. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm torn and I'm babbling, and I'm just gonna think about that tomorrow. So anyway, these are the dolls. And after this little paper doll binge, I had some leftover ones that I put, here they are. And these girls just didn't quite make the cut. These are the these are the first runner-ups, I guess. They're in various stages of completion. You know, some of them are almost finished, and then others are, well, bless her heart, she's just naked, you know. So, but anyway, I held on to them, and there were a bunch more. I've used them on different things off and on, and I'll just, you know, pull one out and finish her up. But anytime I do any kind of project, I do it in bulk, and then just save the leftovers, because, you know, you'll use it for something else. So I might actually work on finishing some of these dolls, but then I will also show you how to assemble one from scratch and tell you where to get all of their little parts. Before I do that, I have to show you this. Okay, first of all, I should say I have almost a phobia about dolls, you know, like baby dolls. I had one baby doll when I was a child that I could remember. And my phobia, I'm doing it again, aren't I? Whoop, there goes the chicken. Okay, focus. My phobia, I think it started when I was very young, can't remember exactly how young, but very young, and I was in a hotel room with my parents somewhere, and I was watching a show on TV, and of course they weren't paying attention. It was the early 70s. Nobody watched their kids back then. We just did whatever. So I was watching some show, and it was a scary show, and it was about a doll that came to life and just wreaked all kinds of havoc on people. And, you know, the doll was very scary looking, and it had teeth, and it smiled, and it was awful, and I had nightmares for years. So, and it didn't help that my mother had her whole collection of her childhood dolls, you know, like from the 40s. She had them in my bedroom as a child, up on a shelf, where, I kid you not, I can remember plain as day a recurring nightmare that I used to have about those ugly dolls jumping down off that shelf, chasing me down the hallway and nipping at my heels with their little teeth. It was awful. Hated dolls. So I had one angel baby who I liked okay. I guess my mom thought it was weird that I didn't like baby dolls because I was a little girl. Now Barbies, love Barbies. I had Barbies out the wazoo. Baby dolls, no. Did not like them. But me and Angel Baby got along pretty well until one day my younger sister decided to groom her. she was the kind of doll where when you lay her down, her eyes closed, you know, so she looked like she was asleep, and then she had the long, pretty eyelashes. My sister took a pair of scissors to her, cut her hair, whacked off her eyelashes. Okay, that was it for Angel Baby. You know, she instantly transformed into the devil, and I would have nothing else to do with her. That was the beginning and end of my doll experience. I didn't even buy my own daughter baby dolls because I didn't want them in the house. But we love our Barbies and our stuffed animals, so it's all good. So anyway, coming back around to my point, I did have one. These paper dolls, you know, they're not a natural love for me. I'm liking them right now the way I'm doing them. You know, because they're kind of funky and weird. They got goofy legs and, you know, funny hats, and I'm good with that. And I like that. But, you know, paper dolls in general, or dolls in general, I've never been crazy about. Now, as a child, paper dolls, I did like. You know, baby dolls, no. Paper dolls, yes. But, you know, as you get older, you kind of outgrow the Disney princess paper dolls, and then your options are limited. And I don't really care for some of the, like the Dover. Dover has a bunch of books you can buy with paper dolls in them. Don't much care for those. They're kind of growing on me. They're okay. But, you know, it's just these doll issues. It's hard to overcome. I will get there. So, a few years ago, well, 10 years ago, actually, 2003, I was in a swap group with a bunch of, or not a bunch, just a few close friends. And we traded art every month, and sometimes we'd have a theme. And one month our theme was paper dolls, which I wasn't really thrilled about. And this was my submission for the swap. This was my paper doll. And she was a little articulated doll, which I printed the template out from somewhere. Don't ask me where. Did I mention this was 2003? Yeah, don't know where I got it. Got it somewhere. Put her together. And then I had a bunch of, these are Zetiology collage sheets. So I just used the collage sheets to cover her, and one of the sheets had a bunch of hands on it. So that was her hair, and then I gave her funky eyes and lips, and she's got some Israeli coins. I think those are Israeli. Those Israeli? They look Israeli. Israeli coins, and then her little, that's her biological clock. So that's my little biological clock paper doll. So, yeah, as far as paper doll styles, I've kind of run the gambit. As long as they're not too realistic looking, then I'm good with them. If they're really realistic looking, they scare me. So, let's look at, okay, where do you get parts and pieces for dolls? I get mine two places. Magazines and the internet. I use only what I can get for free. There's all kinds of templates and things that you can buy, but you know me, I don't buy anything because there's plenty of free stuff out there that you can use. And I like to combine the templates from the internet with some of the real photos from the magazines. You know, like this little dress form was an internet template. And then this I cut out of a magazine, and she was some kind of clip art thing. And I just collect them when I run across them, you know, when I'm flipping through my magazines. Fashion magazines especially will have good parts that you can use. And then I put them in this binder. Sometimes I will fussy cut them out, but most of the time I'll just rip it out and then stick it in the binder and then fussy cut it when I need it, because I'd be lazy like that. So I have a tab called People and Parts, and in there I have people and parts. It's not all for paper dolls, it's just regular images too, but they're images that are predominantly people. That's what I stick in here. I've got some little legs, and there's some heads. And I'll just quickly flip through so you can get an idea. You know, some of these will make, look, I could have a bogey doll. That would be awesome. I think he needs to be in fishnet stockings or thigh boots. Yeah. So there we go. And let's get back here. There's some more. I think I have some actual. Yeah, and I found this somewhere. I don't know where. And printed it out. It was like this. It was just a sheet of legs that someone had cut out from a magazine. And it was free from their website. So I printed it, and I've used a bunch of legs from there. And you can cut out and do your own like this too. And that's really a good idea if you cut your legs out and you're worried about, you know, running out of legs at some point. Stick them on a piece of paper and photocopy them so that you can use those legs over and over again. And there's more legs. And these are legs too that I've just ripped out of magazines, and you know, some of them I've cut, some of them I haven't, and I do all different sizes and shapes because I make dolls in all different sizes. And the only thing that I really look for in legs is I like to have them facing basically forward. They don't have to be completely forward, you know, like okay, this is okay because her body is going to be right here. Her legs are a little off to the side, but they're not enough to where she's going to look like she's broken in half. You know, you don't want legs that are jumping or in weird positions or sitting, because you want your doll to make sense. So look for legs, and in magazines I just have to, the only problem I usually run into is a lot of them will have text printed over them. That just makes me cranky. So, there's a sleeve full of legs. This is a sleeve full of faces and heads. I really need to separate these out because some of them are small enough to be paper doll heads, but then I've got my big faces too. So, that's just a whole sleeve of faces. And this is a sleeve of bodies. And kind of the same thing, I look for the same thing I do with the legs, you know, where they're facing basically forward. They would be easy to fussy cut. If it's going to be difficult to cut out, forget it. No text over them, and, you know, sometimes I don't mind if they're cut off because then I'll just put a different pair of shoes or something on them. But that's what I look for. Like this girl right here, if I remember right, I think she had, the magazine had printed some text over her legs. But she's facing enough forward that she'll work, and then I can just put some different legs on her. So that's what I look for bodies. And lips and eyes, I don't use these on paper dolls very much. You know, I usually use the head as a whole. But I use lips and eyes in other projects, so I have a sleeve of them. There's some printables, some legs I printed out. She's just a real paper doll I printed out. And I like these little striped legs. Arms. Okay, arms. I do print out some arms. I don't generally cut them out of magazines because I don't use them a lot. You know, I like to have a few on hand. But this, okay, fussy cutting, I hate. I hate fussy cutting with a passion. It just irritates me. So if I have to do it, you know, I want it to be as easy as possible. And arms are skinny and spindly, and there's usually fingers, and I end up whacking one off, and it just irritates me. So most of my dolls don't have arms. If you notice these girls, they are mostly armless. This one, let me see. She got lucky. She got a pair. If you see this girl, and she wasn't really done well, but see this shape here? I'll show you how to do that, because that's kind of a good way to give the illusion of arms that, you know, like her hands are behind her back, without having to fussy cut those silly fingers. So, and there's some more eyes. So those are people and parts, and then in this, not that section, this section called objects, I have some accessories. Hats. Oh gosh, I love putting hats on paper dolls. It's just so hard to find cute hats that are in a high enough resolution that they will print well. And, you know, that's my main criteria. I don't want any blurry, you know, I'm not going to print anything out blurry. It has to be a high resolution so that it will print clearly in the size that I need. And for some reason, that's not easy to find with hats. So, when I find a sheet of hats, I print it out. There's some more hats. Dresses. I've got a couple of resources for you for there. And I'm going to put this down in the video description so you'll have it. But SweetlyScrapped.com, that's where these dresses came from. And she has several sheets of these in different patterns that are really cute. I like them because they're easy to cut out. And, you know, you know, there's your body and the clothes all in one. You know, it's not like making using a dress form and having a torso that you might want to add to. So I like these a lot. I use them quite a bit. So SweetlyScrapped.com. Go print out all of her free stuff because she has great free stuff. I don't use a lot of shoes because usually the legs that I use come with feet and have shoes on them. So I don't normally mess with that. Plus, again, you know, they're tiny to cut them out the right size, and I'm going to get frustrated trying to cut the little shoes out. So I don't use them a lot. I have just a few to play with, but, you know, not high on my priority list. Is that all my accessories? Oh, bodies. You know, like I said, you can use the dress. If you find an easy to cut out dress you want to use for a body, you can do that. Or you can start with a dress form and then dress her. You know, find one of the bodies you cut out from a magazine, you know, stick that on the dress form. Or I've done ones also that I've just cut cardstock out in whatever shape I wanted and built her dress. But I have these dress forms, and you know what, I think, I'm not exactly sure, but I think this particular dress form came from Stampington.com. Look at me, I wrote all that stuff down ahead of time. Did you see that? Did you notice that? I'm with it today. So check Stampington.com. They have a section of downloads or printables or templates or something. I don't remember what they call it. But I think these were on there. You know, it's just one, and then I just made it in several different sizes to fill up a page because, you know, going to make good use of your cardstock. And then I print it out, usually on cardstock and whatever happens to be closest to the printer. I don't care because most of the time I'm going to cover it up. But then sometimes I will run scrapbook paper through the printer and print them on the back side of the scrapbook paper so that it's got the pattern on there. So there's some bodies, any kind of dress form shapes that you find online, you can use for bodies. And then I have this little baggie full of templates, and in here there's some different dresses. That's a body. There's some different outfits, just like a bustier thing, and clothes, and oh, this is a good dress because it's easy to cut out. Okay, let me see. Let me get it up here where I can read it. Chia House of Stirfry.com. Templates by Chia. No, Templates by Chia. Houseofstirfry.com/Chia. That's what it says. Okay, I'll try to remember to put that down in the thing too, because this is a good dress and I've used it several times. Nice shape. So those are my little body part templates. I think that's, oh, No, that's not all. Because I was telling you about the arms, you know. And if your gal is, let me find one that's, there we go. If your gal is armless, I'm perfectly fine giving her no arms. A lot of mine just stay armless. And I don't have a problem with that because, you know, I am representing they're not paraplegics, what would they be? Amputees? Yes. I'm all for the arm amputee people. So, yes, my dolls are amputee friendly. I've probably offended so many people. I'm really sorry. Just the more I talk, the worse it gets. But I meant that in a positive, complimentary way. I really did, despite how it came out. Okay, moving on. For the arms, you can cut out hearts. And some of these were die-cut hearts. I think I did on my Cricut. You know, you can freehand it, whatever. And I usually end up having to trim them anyway because you have to, you know, this one is going to give her shoulders like a linebacker. Okay, that looks ridiculous. You know, she's been doing some steroids or something. So you do have to, they need to be, instead of these little fat hearts, they need to be kind of the long, skinny ones. More like this shape, but that one's too small for her. Let me see if I can find one better size. Okay, these would be just about the right size for her if it was trimmed, because it gives the illusion of, there we go, of arms with hands behind her back. So I'll try to make one with some heart arms so you can see. But there's you a cheater way to get some arms on your paper dolls without having to cut out those spindly little magazine arms. Okay, I'm just going to pull out some parts and pieces and then we'll start assembling. So give me a second to fish through here and pick some stuff out.